Someone shot the food. Light force running out.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Mr. Video Game Live Super Show, brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment. If you weren't here last Friday, that is our new intro theme song. I'm hoping that everyone likes it. If so, it is staying. It is brought to us by good friend of the show. Actually, I don't know how he would refer to himself, so I'll hold the name to myself. But a good friend of myself and Brian. Brian has, in fact, worked with him several times before, so, a friend in good standing. Either way, welcome to the show. Of course, I'm Slacker Kai Travis, whatever the hell you want to call it. I push buttons and make show go vroom. Anyway, welcome everyone. Of course, with us are returning champions, some of the best people upon the internet. First off, we got our great boy here. We mentioned his name earlier. It's Brian, aka Wonder Boy.
Yo, guess who just swallowed a cough drop on accident and his throat hurts now? I created the anti-cough drop because I am stupid and did dumb things. Anyway, how's everyone doing today? I'm doing great. I played too much Valorant. I played too much Valorant for one day. No, I'm doing all right. It's been a good day today. It's been a good weekend. It's been a good week, oddly enough, considering all of the dumb bullshit around us. But nah, it's been a good weekend for video game playing. I played more this weekend than I've played probably in a good few weeks, and that really felt good to finally get my hands on some stuff that I could just sink my teeth into.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of us have been, investing either in, other like work related or, hobby related or just fucking cleaning a whole lot of shit here. So,
Yes. In one way or another. I've definitely been doing that too. Did plenty of cleaning. Um, but yeah, no, I've been supplementing the cleaning time with plenty of video game time, and that's been nice to have.
speaking of cleaning, of course, we have the one and only Lady Merowyn Lindsay, whatever you want to call her. She is in our house today.
There is no Lindsay, only Martha.
I missed something apparently.
My mom, while I was growing up, because the whole domestication thing is not something I ever had any interest in. She always called me Martha Impaired, as in Martha Stewart. So I was the anti-domestic goddess.
I see.
So it has come up in emails to her recently that there is no Lindsay, only Martha. Because, dude, I actually washed windows.
Wow.
Yeah, like fully disassembled the multi-paned things that are in my apartment, scrub them hard, and just oh. But on the upside, I also pushed my domestication a bit further. I picked up a bunch of scented wax melts, and my office currently smells like campfires, and it's lovely.
Hell yeah.
Playwatch picked this one out. I ended up with like a bag of 50 of them from a little local company. And so he's like, that one smells good. Let's do that one. Okay.
We can do that. I mean, of course, we are Mr. Video Games here. We have, I would suppose, been playing some games. We did, in fact, get a little time in last Friday to do a stream. I didn't get to Sunday because work called, and that was super happy and fun. But either way, Friday we did get
Boo.
to build some Labo shit together, and that was fun. We had a good time putting the mama bear in the baby bear. Odd words were had that evening.
Oh my god, there were so many things. So many things that could be taken wrong, and we took them all wrong.
I'm bummed I missed this because I feel like I would have had too much fun with that.
Dude, watch the replay on YouTube. It's so worth it.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. I've always loved Labo stuff myself. I mean, so far as the things I've made with it. So having a reason to fuck around with it more is fine by me. So if more people want that, more people getting it, I'll be doing that again on Friday. And hopefully, if everything goes the way I want to, then Sunday I'll continue with more Celeste. So that's me. Merwin, you've been playing some games lately, as I understand it.
Yeah. I decided to take advantage of the stay at home and play thing being done by PlayStation, and this morning, because today is the second last day to grab it, so if you want to grab it now, I grabbed the Uncharted collection that's currently free. It's a tiny ass download, so I mean, like, half an hour at most. And I started playing through the first Uncharted. I got to Act 4. I think I'm almost at Act 5. And it's been interesting because I've never played any of these games before. And I've been told that the first one is the most absolutely clunky by way of controls and gameplay.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that I haven't yeeted my controller yet is huge. Because we all know that I have rage quit games
Mhm.
often. Um, I didn't even wake up play watch this morning because I was playing at the wee hours, and and by wee hours I mean like 7 a.m. um, with my very softly muttered curses as I died for the 15th time on one section. So, but it's cool.
Sounds like Uncharted 1.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm liking the story. I'm I'm sort of liking the mechanics. Like if I could go through and I could play like just the story and the puzzles, I'd be fine. The shooting and aiming mechanics are going to be the end of me. They
No,
really are.
I haven't played it directly myself, but everything I've heard, the shooting mechanics get a whole lot better as the series go on. But yeah, you're not the first one to say the that Uncharted had some really clunky shooting mechanics in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm playing on the first, or not like the lowest difficulty, which is like just their explorer. I'm playing on easy, so there is still a little bit of challenge, but I'm finding like the tooltips I need are showing up a little bit too late. Like, hey, did you know that you can actually move out of cover by pushing this so that way you're not stuck in one spot? Getting shot in the face repeatedly, but but it's cool. I highly recommend if you've got a PlayStation, grab it. Like it's free. It's 3 games. It's a whole like 4.5 gig download, so even if you don't have a lot of space on your system, you can still grab this.
Yeah, and despite those limitations, the graphics in the game are outstanding, especially you know when you consider how long ago this series started, even with this being a remaster in some of those areas, even in the original, the graphics were fucking beautiful.
Oh yeah, I mean it is an absolutely gorgeous game.
No doubt about it. How about you, Brian? What do you got for us today?
So I've been playing 2 games a lot over the weekend. One more so than the other, just because Valorant's not as a odd key system, but frustrating key system, which we'll touch on later on in the show. Took me a while to get the key to the beta there. So I guess I'll start with Valorant, since that's the one I played the least amount of, and probably the one I'm going to talk about the least amount to start off with here. Of course, Valorant, the new game from Riot, makers of League of Legends, and nothing else. So, but no, like the game itself, I have to say, like this has been hinted at, with especially within the esports community, as like the CS:GO killer. In a lot of ways, this is basically the FPS killer for esports in a lot of ways so far. The game itself is really fun for someone who did not grow up playing PC FPSs like me. There's been a bit of a learning curve trying to get my hand to cramp around the WASD controls for an extended amount of time, just because don't have that muscle memory. But I've been pretty easy to grasp the controls of it. The heroes, a lot of the hero powers really kind of center around obscuring vision and creating barriers and that sort of thing. And like they all differ here and there. And there are some characters that have specials and ults that are much more based around dealing damage, but it's really a lot of it really plays into the tactical nature of the game itself, where this is one of those like CS:GO where you don't have the ability to take a lot of bullets. The game it moves slow, but whenever you get into combat, it's quick, fast paced. I have been working on my hand-eye coordination like crazy for the past like 24 to 48 hours, because that's how long I've had the game. And I've been really digging it so far, and it doesn't surprise me at all that a lot of notable esports FPS players have been gravitating towards it. Most notably, funny, Playwatch mentions Overwatch in the chat here. Sinatra, the MVP of last year's Overwatch League, and basically the anchor for the San Francisco Shock, who won the OWL League Championship last year, retired a few days ago from Overwatch League so he could focus on playing Valorant esports, and the Valorant esports league hasn't even been like fully established yet. That's how much this game has already impacted the esports world. It's made a lot of people question what's going to happen with Overwatch now. And it's not just from Overwatch that people are coming. There's been notable CS:GO players that are coming over. There's been notable I think there's a couple of Apex Legends pros that have made not necessarily left competitive Apex, but they've definitely made the jump to the game to start learning it. And it's been really, really fun to play. Like if you tried CS:GO and it just wasn't for you, this is probably like this is the answer to that. I would say like this very much feels like a little bit like Overwatch Go, but nowhere near as like shitty as CS:GO can be, especially when it comes to the community. And I know that the CS:GO community has that reputation, like a lot of online games do, especially League. Like there's still toxicity in there, but I will say this: like I've played every match that I've played, I haven't really run into that, and it seems like the community, at least in the beginning so far, has been pretty all right when it comes to toxicity. That being said, who knows? Because we've only had the game's only been out for beta for like a week, a little over a week at this point, I want to say. And so as more people get into it, the more that can change. But the game itself is really fun to play, and I dig it. Matches can take a little while though, so if you're going to sit down for a match, make sure you get about 30 minutes set aside. It takes a little bit. So that's been really fun to play. The other one I've been really getting into is XCOM Chimera Squad. I love my tactical RPGs like this, and Chimera Squad is a really fun take on the XCOM concept that turns a lot of what you expect from an XCOM game on its head in really interesting and fascinating ways, I would say. Obviously, like every other XCOM game, you have your crew that you go into missions with, and you have the normal turn-based stuff. But in lieu of having entire squads take turns, they set up, as you see in the side of the screen here, they set up a turn order where it mixes in your team as well as the opponent, the enemies, and it plays that way. It plays out that way. So it's not their normal XCOM like move all your people and then let the enemy do their thing. As well as all of the characters in the game are like narrative driven characters. They are named characters with their own personalities, their own backstories. So you don't have that element of like naming and customizing all your soldiers like after your friends or whatever that a lot of people do with XCOM. But the characters that they have built out are pretty endearing, and they have a good rapport with one another. Also, really cool about this one is that since it's set like after the events of XCOM 2, you have aliens on your squad.
Ooh.
So you finally, for the first time, get to control the aliens that you've only been fighting against for all of the other XCOM games. So like you have a sectoid on your team, you have a Viper Lady on your team, like you have a Muton on your team. Like it's really cool to like kind of see how these abilities can play into how you would normally play the game. And it's been really fun to watch and play and see how these things develop. The boss fights are frustrating because this game does have a narrative, so and it has boss fights. And I don't know, it's been really fun. I've been digging it. It's a smaller experience, I would say. I think it's only $20.
Okay.
So like it's something you can kind of jump in, get your grasp on. It's very much distilled, and that can be said also for like the base building stuff that a lot of people expect from XCOM. Like you have some of that. You don't necessarily build a base, but you have like your munitions that you develop and purchase, and you have like different side missions that will net you resources and that sort of thing. But you're not actually building out a base in this. You already have your base. You're going into City 31 to clean up some bullshit after somebody gets assassinated, and it just all unravels from there. And a lot of the enemy factions, there's multiple enemy factions in the game, and the stories that they have the potential to tell with some of them is really interesting. I haven't had the chance to really experience all of that because I haven't finished the game, like I said. But so far, like some of the ideas that they're trying to play around with how this society would advance beyond like human and alien integration in a peaceful manner or somewhat peaceful manner is really really fun to watch. Fuck Advent soldiers, fuck them hard, except for the one on your team. He's cool. Rest of them, eat it.
How would you say for someone who say hasn't played XCOM before, is this a welcoming entry, or is it something you need that background for?
You don't necessarily need the background. You get more out of it if you know the background. Like if you are familiar with not just necessarily the events of XCOM 2, but as if you know like the different species of aliens that you fought in the series over time, you get more out of being able to the fascinate like the actual like glee that you get with finally being able to control some of these characters and play around with the abilities that they used on your squad in those other games and being able to implement those for yourself. That being said, though, like if you're, this is a pretty good entry for a tactics game, I would say. It's definitely more in depth than say Gears Tactics. If you like, that game is from what I've seen is really good. I haven't got the chance to play it, but that game is much more like stripped down in a lot of ways. Like that's probably a better like first game between the two tactics games that are out right now if you haven't ever played a tactics game before. But I'd say this one's more interesting in concept and execution. And even if you don't have the knowledge of the XCOM series or like what this world like has gone through to get to this point, it does get spelled out somewhat a little bit in the narrative and the backstories that you can read up on for all the characters in the game. So you get a little bit of it. You just get more if you are familiar with at least the newer XCOM games, like starting with XCOM Enemy Unknown that Firaxis put out for the 360 and PS3 and PC a number of years ago.
Yeah, I won't lie. I've watched people playing XCOM 1 and 2, at least these remakes, but I've never played them myself. The closest I've gotten was Mario vs. Rabbids, which underrated Switch game, by the way, but
No, that
uh,
was dope.
yeah, it was definitely way distilled from this while still keeping the idea in. So, yeah. That is kind of where I look at it from. Like, would this interest me actually? It does sound cool though, and definitely good to hear that the XCOM series is still strong out there because especially when XCOM 1 came out, it was kind of like, who is going to be interested? And it turns out a whole lot of people. So,
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. And yes, play watch. The game is still fairly glitchy at times. That's the good old XCOM jank that you got in there. I will say this: like the first time I had a 91% chance to hit and I missed, I almost threw my controller. That's some bullshit. It also should be noted this game is only available on PC right now, and I don't know if there are plans to bring it to console. I imagine there are because it does have controller support, like I said, but right now it's PC only.
fair, fair. All right, so shall we get to the actual stories today?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Wait a second. I think we have an incoming call. Let me get this first.
Snake, do you copy? What's your status?
Colonel, an invisible threat has rapidly taken the world by storm. Ordinary routine has been disrupted, and lives hang in the balance. I'm talking about COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus.
The coronavirus.
It's the worst thing since Fox Die. Luckily, it's not unstoppable, and plans are already in place
God
to halt
damn it.
its spread. First, be sure to wash your hands. Proper procedure with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds will kill this thing. Second, stay in your quarters as much as possible. Isolation takes toll on morale, so keep yourself entertained with books, games, and movies. Better yet, make contact with an old friend on a secure codec frequency. Third, if you have to go on a field mission, be smart about it. Equip your PPE first.
PPE?
Personal protective equipment. A face mask, gloves, goggles. But it's just as important that you remember your training. Whenever possible, keep at least 2 meters away from anyone you encounter. This is no time for CQC. I would also recommend bringing a cardboard box for social distancing. Finally, save your rations for later and
It's
support
always
your
time for
local
CQC,
businesses.
damn it.
They're hurting. Order a pizza and eat the whole thing alone. Buy 2 burritos. Nobody can see you eat when you eat alone.
Stay safe, Snake. Complete your mission until it's a success. Over and out.
Thank you, Colonel. Stay safe. Stay stealthy. Snake out.
Sorry, I had to do that at the beginning of the show. That was too funny not to use. IGN, please don't sue us. We just wanted to spread the love that you're spreading with getting David Ader to come in and do another Snake voice for this, and your whole presentation is amazing for a really good cause here. That was fucking phenomenal. I've seen this 4 times now, and I'm still laughing at it. So I may have too much love for David Hayter.
Such thing. No such thing as too much love for David Hayter.
Okay, the actual news. So, all right, you may have heard as well from us last week that The Last of Us 2 had a leak of a lot of very important scenes and parts from the original, and it was speculated at the time that it was somebody who worked at Naughty Dog. It turns out at this point that it was not anybody from Naughty Dog. We'll start with at first, when the story originally came out, that it was believed that it was likely somebody at Naughty Dog or a former Naughty Dog employee. Now, going from there, it was discovered over the week as time went on, starting with Jason Schreier and further going with Stephen Totello over at Kotaku, that it was definitely hackers that actually stole the game code. Well, not game code, but video clips from The Last of Us Part 2, likely as part of a larger storage, especially for older stuff that was out there, with a whole lot of footage that was likely taken by studio hands. But definitely it was part of a larger hacking campaign. They were able to speak with somebody who went anonymously, but went by the handle Pixel Butts to talk to Stephen in regards to the security flaw in their Amazon cloud storage. That definitely led to this information leaking. A lot of what we would have seen if we watched those particular leaks would have likely been earlier footage. There are definitely parts of it that were based on an April 1 build of a game, but how much of that build is unsure. One of my interesting things that came from this, Jason Jason Schreier went on to say that it definitely had nothing to do with any contractors. In fact, when talking with the employees from Naughty Dog, all of the contractors were given an extension on their contract without having to do any further work due to all of the COVID-19 items. That being said, while Naughty Dog a good place to work in most other factors, that doesn't change the fact that Naughty Dog has severe issues with crunch that should still be noticed, but that is not what led to this leak.
Huh. It's an interesting development, honestly, and I will say this: as much as I was like conflicted and both like gung ho and also just like about what we were reporting on last week and the speculation about it being a Naughty Dog employee, I'm very happy to find out that it wasn't a Naughty Dog employee. That it was just a group of hackers who found a back door into this. In some ways, I don't know if it makes it better, honestly, because you still have people putting out content. I know, actually, it doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better. It makes it worse because instead of it having some kind of message behind it in any way, shape, or form, no matter how like problematic or misplaced the message is, this is just hackers taking advantage of a backdoor in Naughty Dog's Amazon systems that honestly it seems like they knew about for a while, but I don't know. I'm curious as to why they weren't more proactive to close it, or even if I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting Pixel Butts' Twitter information wrong. Cause I read through his whoever Pixel Butts is. I'll say they because I don't want to throw a gender on anybody. They definitely went into extensive detail about how this happened, and it really feels like if they knew about this stuff back in January, I don't know why you would have it open until it says they didn't close it until April 30th.
Yeah, and you're correct on that. And what I would probably state is that I think a lot of tech guys, especially, tend to believe that their stuff is more secure than it is, especially when we're approaching this digital age where a lot of our collaborative items, especially with COVID right now, is being hosted more and more on Amazon servers, on Microsoft servers. As Coop mentions in chat, even Nintendo has been hacked lately. It wasn't large enough to really get a whole lot of discussion. There were some prototypes that
there was a
were
whole lot of
leaked.
stuff that came out of that.
Yeah.
Anybody want some Wii source code?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about the Wii source code coming out because the people who develop the emulators are not going to look at it because Nintendo will come down hard with the banhammer if even one of them is found to have looked at their BIOS. So, yeah, that was actually the whole reason why I kind of skipped over that one because while it is a large leak, it also ultimately isn't going to affect much of anything, but this one kind of does, since that hack really would have been more than just the Last of Us 2 material. It would be the juiciest would be the Last of Us 2 material, but there would also be a whole lot of behind the scenes and development stuff that would have been hosted on the server from the way that Pixel Butt lays it out. That being said, yeah, people in IT positions like this that host this get, you know, leaks all the time from white hat hackers. I can say these words, white hat hackers. Anyway, saying, "Hey, this security hole is here," and a lot of them will look at it and go, whatever. Especially because the amount of work that it would take to overcome it, versus just kind of hoping that no one will actually do anything with it. And here we are with the if you want to know what happens in The Last of Us 2, it's out there. I have been avoiding it like fucking hell, but it's there if you want it, man.
Some people have been trying to avoid it though and still can't. Like, I was reading stories of somebody who had jumped into a Twitch stream and there were the typical assholes in chat just blurting out spoiler after spoiler after spoiler after spoiler. And like, okay, yeah, the info's out there. Some of us don't want to have it spoiled for us. Please, like, just be considerate if you happen to know this information.
Yeah, Jim Sterling actually hilariously got an email from someone with a major spoiler as the name of the email because they were mad at his Fallout 76 coverage. So that's one that I just listened to and went, why? Over Fallout 76? Really? That's the hill you're gonna fucking die on? Okay. Okay, Internet.
Yeah, some people misplace love in very odd places.
Mhm.
Though it's also like really surprising to me. Maybe it was just my ignorance of how games are developed these days, but the fact that they're using Amazon cloud servers. Like, I thought this shit was kept internal,
Oh, hell no.
specifically for this reason.
AWS is basically the cloud service for like everybody at this point.
Yeah,
when it comes to that
AWS
stuff.
is huge. You are more secure using AWS than your own cloud server in many ways because there is a lot more to keep you safe. Now, that being said, it's also a very easy way to get social engineering, hacking, and other various ways. So, yeah, Amazon, if you're hosting with anybody, you're hosting with Amazon. There's very few companies keeping their own servers anymore because of how cheap, especially Amazon storage, can be these days.
Huh. Go
Yeah.
figure.
Yeah, but also at the same time, like, I think that Amazon's servers have definitely proven to be not necessarily the best when it comes to security as well, especially if not staying up on top of it. And I know that in the article they point out that like a lot of the scramble to like transition to working from home to finish up development of the game, like could have basically obscured this hole in the security of the server for Naughty Dog, and maybe like made them not as quick to close it just because they had the focus was put on other places, and that's a viable reason why they wouldn't have addressed it in that way, or at least in that time period. I don't know, like it sucks. It sucks all around that a lot of this information got out, but I'm glad that we actually have people that we can point to now.
Mhm.
And that we don't have to have this conversation about whether or not it was a valid or valuable use of like resistance work for people that are fall victim to some of the practices of the studio. That being said, that fight still goes on. That fight always still goes on. Even as the game goes gold, that fight still goes on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, we went over it enough last week, so I don't want to flog a dead horse, but you can be one of the greatest companies, but if you aren't managing your people well, it doesn't matter if most of them want to work the overtime. Perfectionists like them are, yeah, going to look at this, say, no, I need to get this done as quickly as possible. It's your job as a fucking manager to say, hey, you're overworking yourself, slow the fuck down. My bosses tell me that all the time. You have to do that with a lot of, especially people in creative fields. So, yeah.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Anybody that has ever worked in media in any form or fashion knows that for damn well sure. If you don't tell somebody, stop making, they will just make until their eyes bleed and then pass out later in the day.
Oh Lord.
Speaking of passing out, I actually watched
Oh.
Greg Miller cover this, and I have never seen Greg Miller more bored in my entire life than watching the Stadia Connect. I'm not even saying this to shit on Stadia. Honestly, I have never seen anybody in games media just kind of staring at like, why is this a direct? Like afterwards, they had this whole conversation of why isn't this a blog post? Like, this only highlights the problems of Stadia more than it really showcases the good of it. I mean, yeah, they have Get Packed coming out directly now. It's already out. It's a moving co-op game. It's basically Overwatch. Wow.
It's Overwatch
Overcooked.
but moving.
It's Overcooked but moving. Yes.
Choose your hero, grab a box, get the fuck out of the house.
Choose your particular flavor of waifu as you move out of your house and into new lands. There's also Krita coming out, which is a multiplayer create a game sort of scenario thing. So I'm guessing they're hoping that to be similar to Dreams, which it's not, but whatever. Ember looked kind of fun. You're a group of firefighters basically go around putting out fires, but it's basically the elevator pitch is it's the Uber of firefighters, right? You're being hired to go out and work as a firefighter.
That
Looks
sounds like a
nice.
dystopia.
A little bit. As well, some venerable classics coming back to Stadia, Octopath Traveler, Rock of Ages, just, some solid AAA games, but they've been out for so fucking long that who gives a shit?
Yo, but it got that PUBG though.
Yeah, they're getting PUBG on Stadia,
It got that PUBG.
which would have
And the
been
graphics look
huge
bad.
years ago.
And the graphics look bad.
You know, you're right. Like, this should have just been a blog post. Like, they really didn't need to do a direct. I mean, I didn't even know a direct was happening.
No one did.
And
No one did. That was the
Yeah.
best part of it, was that the whole thing, they didn't even when it went live, they just gave you a link. It was a direct that was already recorded. You just went to YouTube and it was just a regular old direct. So you're just kind of like, you can zoom through it wherever you want to during the announcements. Kind of weird, but okay.
Like, if this tells you anything, like, more people have been talking about the fact that Nintendo delayed their direct scheduled for June than people have been talking about this direct actually happening.
Why? Just why?
Yeah, this whole thing, like, I wouldn't even be talking about it now if it wasn't for how fucking hilarious this is. You're Google. You know how to do a premiere. You have people doing it every fucking day on your goddamn platform. Google, what are you doing? It's nice to hear that EA is throwing in pretty hard. They've already said Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is coming, Madden, FIFA, and they've promised at least 2 more games will be coming to Stadia this year. Some, kind of multi-part coming out to, Stadia and other platforms at the same time.
Watch out for The Sims 4 on Google Stadia.
I feel a lot like this is going to be the GameCube 5, right? Like, yeah, we're going to put our money behind you and then slowly back away and then port the good ones to other things.
Yeah, the GameCube was at least good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had many hours logged in like Super Smash Bros. Melee on GameCube. So actually I still have my Wii with Super Smash Bros. Melee, so I can keep playing it.
Hey, let me read to you the free Stadia Pro games they got this month. Zombie Army 4 Dead War, The Turing Test, and SteamWorld Heist.
I mean, SteamWorld Heist is okay.
Yeah, like last month they did literally everything else in the SteamWorld backlog. So hey, why not just put that final one out there? The
You
rest
know
of it,
we have the rights to.
I'm literally hanging on to Stadia now just for the fucking ennui of it, and also I haven't finished just yet. So
Do you think that maybe the employees were looking at this and going, "Hey, look, another meeting that could have been an email."
oh, Lord knows I've been there.
You know, honestly, like as much as we dunk on this because Lord knows it deserves to be dunked on, it really points to how disappointing the Stadia already is. And that's a real shame because like the technology and the infrastructure that this thing is running on, it works.
Yeah,
It works and it could be revolutionary within the industry. It really could. But the fact that Google continues to bungle this in such a disastrous way is really frustrating. Like it makes me wonder if they should have just gone the route of creating the technology and licensing it to someone else. Like if they had partnered with Sony and licensed this to Sony, imagine how that would be as a competitor to xCloud whenever it finally comes out.
We would actually have a decent catalog for one.
There you go. Just
Here-
throw that PlayStation Now catalog onto Stadia's technology. Imagine how look, you have a thing that is disappointing but has a really good backbone, and you have a thing that is disappointing but has a really good catalog. Put the two positives together and eliminate the negatives. It's not this hard.
here would be my pitch. Put Stadia and Epic together. Imagine how well that would work if you could access your Epic catalog literally anywhere.
Dude,
Suddenly, the free games given away are worth a shit.
yeah, but if they were using Stadia, they probably wouldn't be doing free games anymore.
I imagine they would, you're still trying to get people into your ecosystem. So,
Exactly. I mean,
Therein mind.
Stadia is doing free games.
Mhm.
Like it makes total sense that Epic would still be trying to do that to build up their install base in that way. I honestly think Epic has enough money at this point; they could make their own Stadia.
I don't know about that. The hardware required to run what Stadia is running on is massive in fucking scale. Like, at least Google had the back end to start on that. Epic wouldn't have that yet. Yeah, they have the storage servers, but they don't really have the pipes yet, I would say, for that sort of thing.
I mean, I'm still checking Epic weekly to see what my new freebies are. Stadia has offered me, what, a 2-month free trial of Prime or Pro or whatever it is?
Mhm.
Still haven't touched it. Like, they're saying, hey, look, free. And I'm going, pass.
Yeah, that's a problem when you give your shit away for free and people are still going, I don't know.
And you guys know me, like, I play the weird, random, obscure games. And I still won't touch this.
All right, enough flogging the dead horse, Brian alluded to this one earlier in the week from PC Gamer and Fraser Brown. Over the last week, Twitch has been dropping beta keys to Valorant to people as they are watching streams of people. And basically, what people have been doing is tagging their streams as live and just re-showing VODs over and over again in order to build up more keys rather than actually streaming it and, letting the community gather the resources. It's been a big deal over the last week, and a lot of people have been banned from the service, particularly for this tactic.
Good.
Yeah. Good on people for recognizing how this thing could be easily exploited.
I'm thinking more of good on Twitch for actually doing a thing that they should do.
Oh, yes. No, that too. Definitely that too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that Twitch stood up and did something, but there's got to be another way to do this other than getting people's eyes on the streams. Like, I understand you want to promote the stream so that more people are watching it. I get that, but this seems like something so easily farmed that why wouldn't everyone try?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I try the way that I got my key, or like I think the way that I got my key was like because you have to watch live streams to get it. Like we've talked about. I just opened up like 6 different windows. I just opened up like 6 different live streams of people playing Valorant and put them all on mute. Like I'm not gonna be ashamed about what I did. I don't care. Like I'm gonna be fair. Like most of the streamers that play Valorant on Twitch are not. I'm not the target audience for that, and I don't really care. I just wanted to play the game, and so like that's what I did. It's not this. Like this is really frustrating because at least I'm still engaging with the game. I'm still watching the game being played and being interested in the game. This is just people trying to harvest drops for themselves. Like it's really frustrating to see, especially considering how much these drops are in demand right now. Like people want to play this game really, really badly. And if you are like doing anything to really like frustrate people that and disrupt the process, even if the process does deserve criticism, which I do believe the drop system does deserve some criticism in and of itself, but if you're doing anything to disrupt that ecosystem, like fuck you. Seriously, just like just walk away from this. Like that's you are hampering other people's experience with trying to get into this beta and try out this new thing that is very, very good and deserves to be tried out by people that want to play this style of thing. No, like good on Twitch for it. It sucks that Twitch only seems to really put their foot down on stuff that violates their terms of service or their community guidelines whenever large companies are involved. But I good on Twitch for doing it. At least they did it. Just keep doing it for people that actually violate shit on a smaller scale, please.
Fair.
Make it ubiquitous across the spectrum.
All right. While we're still on the streaming side of things, or at least the fun online part, Fortnite, and thank you Andy Chaw from PC Gamer, released a new Party Royale mode, which is basically dance off, show off your goddamn skins, and have fun. You can't kill everyone. You're just kind of hanging out and having a bit of a party. They even used it to do a small concert over the weekend that was unannounced. So I don't understand, but if it sounds like fun to just hang around and virtually dance and grab shit in Fortnite, here you go.
Now, see, like this is something that I was expecting they would bring in because, like, with them bringing in like all the water activities and random mini games and like fishing and stuff that you can do in Fortnite. I was waiting for them to bring in like a peaceful mode so that way you could actually take advantage of that stuff without getting shot at.
Like, I suppose with the addition of fishing and soccer and all of these additional little things you can do within the game, I can see it. I don't understand it, but I can see it. So, hell yeah, go out and dance with your buddies. Whatever.
No, I mean this is a really good option for people, especially now where we're all cooped up, like
Mhm.
trying to like basically um wait out this coronavirus thing. Oh crap! Hold on a second. Oh shit. Sorry, I just turned my I don't something happened with my eyelid there for a second. It was
Ew,
weird. Anyway,
gross.
yeah, real nasty. Anywho, no, but this makes sense, especially if you're going to continue having these big promotional events like the Travis Scott concert or any other concert that like surprise shows that you have on there. I thought like the creation mode that they put in was a really good alternative to the base game, or at least for the battle royale base game. And so this just adds to it. This creates a really good community hub for people that play Fortnite together, just to kind of get in there, hang out with people, and just chill, just have some fun. Like this is a really good social experience for people whenever they can't actually be social. Like this is the kind of thing I would like to see in a lot of other games like this, especially one that caters to such a young core audience like Fortnite does. Like this is perfect for them.
I don't remember. There was Second Life. That's the name of it. Is Second Life still a thing right now?
I don't think so.
It is. It still actually has a pretty solid core player base. Um, I know a lot of people who still play on it who actually even make money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, this basically just reminds me of a more honestly stripped down Second Life.
A less weird Second Life.
Also fair. Our next item, we have a new trailer has dropped for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You again get your choice of male or female avatar within the game. The internet seemed pretty stoked for it. This one is more focused on Norse mythology and whatnot, and it looks pretty as fuck. So if you're into all of that Norse shit, it's right here for the taking.
Playwatch played the hell out of Odyssey.
Mm.
And as soon as he found out about this, like he's been bouncing off the walls with giddiness. So, like, even I'm excited for this one. Like, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since Syndicate.
Mm.
But yeah, Norse mythology is so much fun to dive into.
Fair. I mean, I've just never had. I've never played Assassin's Creed. I don't know why. The game kind of rubs me the wrong way, and I don't know. Norse shit lately has such a tie, especially with white supremacist bullshit, that it just I can't get into it myself. But I understand, right? You know, just because a shitty subgroup has ruined a thing that people enjoy in my own head, doesn't mean that that thing is ruined. But it's still there in my own head.
And that's perfectly fine. You know, like I definitely second that opinion when it comes to the co-opting of Norse imagery within the white supremacy movement. It does suck because there is a lot to really glean out of Norse mythology, and it can be very interesting world to tell stories within. I mean, we've seen like a resurgence of it with especially with the renewed God of War series a couple of years ago. And you know, this is the next logical place to go after you've like delved into these mythologies within, you know, Egypt and ancient Greece. Like this makes perfect sense for the next step.
Mm.
I'm really curious to see how they portray the Vikings in this game and how they build the characters out is like, in the trailers, it shows them like holding off from slaughtering women and children in the game, which like it's I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how they handled that dynamic there, and just kind of like how they frame this cultural image that we have kind of been accepted over the years of the Vikings, and how they decide to interpret it, and if they possibly turn it on its head in some way. I will say this: dope seeing Odin in an assassin's hood. That's pretty sweet. And I think I have not really delved into the more recent Assassin's Creed games. Like, I played the first few in the series and they were fun. But they've definitely taken a much different turn with the more recent games. And while I haven't played them, they've at least interested me to be able to look into them and see other people playing them. So I think this will be similar for me. Like, if I had the chance to play it, I'm sure I would have fun with it. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like it excites me, but it also doesn't overwhelm me, if that makes sense. Like, it's logical, and I think that they have shown the gravitas to pull this sort of stuff off.
Mhm.
They'll just be curious to see what they do with this world, and also, like, more than likely, you're going to see a return to naval battle as well, because Vikings are very famous for their ships.
Oh,
So I would not
absolutely.
be surprised if we have naval gameplay in there again.
Which will be awesome. I mean, like, Syndicate was cool and it drew me in because Steampunk London.
Mm.
Yes. All the yes. And the play between your two protagonists was amazing. Between Syndicate and Odyssey, holy hell, they stepped up their game. Like, huge. Like, it doesn't even seem like the same franchise, except for like your few key points, hidden blades, constant allusions to Templars versus assassins, and everything along those lines. But it feels like they refreshed the series. So I'm super stoked to see what they do with this one.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem I've really had with that refresh ever since Assassin's Creed Origins was that it seems like the games have become more and more bloated because of the addition of copious side quest stuff and collectible stuff, and the same things that have plagued a lot of AAA games in the past decade. So I don't know. That's why I'm sort of curious to see how much, if they continue down that path, or if they try and maybe dial back a little bit of that and streamline it just a tad bit more.
I did see a note today, and I forgot to link the article, that one thing that Playwatch definitely acknowledged while playing Odyssey was that a lot of the times you want to advance your story, but you're not a high enough level, so you get forced to do all of these side quests and stuff that you don't really care about.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
been confirmed that for Valhalla, they won't be doing that.
Mm.
So it's more of a play your way.
Okay. See, that makes that excites me more.
Hmm.
Because there's nothing that we love more in a game than required grind.
Absolutely. Just the best thing ever. That being said, hey, while you're talking about required grind, you can't think of anything but JRPGs. And in several recent interviews, not just this one noted here on Nerdist, but I've actually seen several others as well. They haven't really decided yet how they're going to break up Final Fantasy VII Remake. Tetsu Nomura has talked about breaking up into smaller chapters going forward from the original release rather than the big dramatic 40-hour game. You may get something like a 20-hour game, hopefully for less money. But the rest of the game after you leave Midgard, Final Fantasy VII, in the original, was much more of just kind of floating around and going off and doing other things. rather something that has a condensed, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So it would make a certain amount of sense, but at the same time, I'd kind of rather have the condensed chunks myself because it feels a little bit more epic to me. There's been a lot of talk at Square about a 5-part series, which sounds about right if they're still including things like there's been talk of including the parts of I forget the name of it, but Vincent Valentine's game within the plot.
Dirge of Cerberus.
That one, yes, Dirge of
Yeah.
Cerberus. Which would make sense because there is a lot of backstory to the game in that, so it wouldn't really surprise me. So there you go. It may be coming out in smaller chunks if Nomura has his way, but I think at the end of the day, it's really going to depend upon the way that Square Enix executives want to go, and it does sound like the executives more want to lean towards the traditional, you put out a solid chunk of game at a time.
Here's the thing, though. If you do break this down into smaller installments, you're still putting out a good chunk of game with all those installments. Like, let's look at it this way. Like, you're talking about a 30 to 40 hour game with the first remake installment here.
Mhm.
If you want to break that down into 5 parts, like, or even more, like, you can break these things down into like 15 to 20 hour experiences, and that's enough to satiate a lot of people as you keep working on that. If you are able to put one of those out every like 1 to 3 years,
Mhm.
instead of taking, because they took a long time with the first installment of remake here. Like this took a good number of years to get this first 40-hour experience out. If they are able to kind of speed up that timetable and put out smaller pieces and find really good places of where to break up the story, especially considering where remake leaves the story, like they could take this into many different areas and build these things out into smaller experiences that I think would be very, very profitable for them. Especially considering that if you're able to it's always better if you're able to put something out quicker that still has that good polish on it. And I think that they are capable of doing that because now they have a pathway. They know what they can do with this, and they know where they want to go with it. It seems like I think that it's a smart move. I'm not a Square Enix executive, so I that's just me.
I mean, I admit that part of my hesitation comes from having been a part of seeing the downsides of agile development. So my concerns are probably more, in my own personal experiences, more in the game experience. So can't say that this would be better or worse for people. So take it as you will. My interesting take from the whole thing is that they still don't really know how the roadmap is going to go, right? They know the story as they want to tell it, but they don't know how to get it into those narrative chunks for the people. And that's fascinating to me.
Well, I mean, a lot of that plays into a very spoiler heavy discussion that we are not going to have on the show right now. And because there's so many different pathways they could take to tell the rest of the story.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
While we're on the remake train, we've got 2 more remakes to quickly discuss about. Destroy All Humans remake is coming on July the 28th, finally, with the official announcement for a final date coming from THQ Nordic. Destroy All Humans, definitely a beloved game by a lot of people. Maybe not the biggest name out there, but definitely a game that has a very strong cult following. So, and I saw the original. The original does look kind of clunky, so seeing it now with the enhanced graphics and whatnot definitely looks cool to me. If you're a fan of the original, this is kind of a no-brainer. I would
Rated T
think.
for teen.
Ooh, loud.
I've never played the original. Looks like a lot of fun though. It really does. It kind of gives me a definite War of the Worlds vibe, and just from the other side, really.
No, like this is like the definition of that PS2 era B game that you really latch on to if you did play it. Like this and like, the two best examples I can give are this and Stubbs the Zombie as like those sort of like B level games put out by like major studios that are like remain sort of like cult classics to the people that really latched onto them. So it makes sense that they would put this out, and I think that if they're able to really translate it to the new consoles, then this will be an easy win. I don't know how profitable it'll be, how much they'll sell, but like at the same time, like there's an audience already built in for this thing, and even then, like the game looks interesting enough that it could pique people's curiosity that for those that didn't really experience it the first time around.
Yeah,
And you also figured,
go
like,
ahead.
when the first one came out, like, we were kids.
Yeah.
And so you've now got people our age who are introducing it to their kids. So you've got the whole nostalgia factor for our generation, and then the wanting to pass it on to the next generation. So like it's that perfect bridge.
And I will say this: if you haven't played it, if you enjoy like cheesy 1950s alien flicks, like this is right up your alley.
I'm not gonna
Perfect.
lie, like the game always gave me a bit of an Invader Zim vibe, which has never really been my place, at least as far as how the comedy lands.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all.
At least from the parts that I remember watching, that was kind of my takeaway from it. Was oh, okay, I get it. Humans are stupid. All right. Anyway, the last on our remaster list here, the Wonderful 101, the first. While it is a remaster, it was the first game that Platinum Games was going to release after its well-funded Kickstarter as its first release as their own studio, producing their own carts and whatnots. However, that has been postponed. It's a little bit confusing as far as the dates. They've moved back the launch in North America and Europe to June 30th and July 3rd, respectively, to North America and Europe. Backers receiving physical copies may receive it later than that launch windows, whereas people who got a software copy are likely going to be getting it sooner. But this whole rigmarole basically comes as no surprise, an extent of the COVID-19 pandemic. So here you are. This game is one of very, very many games that have been delayed, as was predicted previously. That will come out later. It just sucks that it is their first game as a publisher to hit these sorts of issues.
And it should be noted that this really isn't an issue of development for them because it seems like the game is still on schedule for the regularly announced release date. It's just this really kind of hinges on manufacturing issues.
Correct.
And that's perfectly explainable considering everything that's been going on with excuse me,
Yeah,
with
this
with COVID-19. Every part of the distribution cycle for many products is being interrupted on a drastic level. So like I don't think there's any real like foul in this at all. It sucks, but what are you going to do?
yeah, you're absolutely correct. I believe Platinum has done everything they can to get the game out on time. It's just a matter of unforeseeable world events currently taking place that just have dramatically bad timing for the company.
Yeah.
But our last piece of news for the day, and just really here to dunk on the fucking asshole. Hey, everyone's favorite streamer, Dr. Disrespect, is back in the news again for being outlandishly fucking stupid. Because he went on a stream and started spouting coronavirus conspiracy theories on his stream, and even the chatters, for the most part, weren't having it, with a few chatters being, hell yeah, Dr. Disrespect. But, yeah, what a giant fucking piece of shit. If I wasn't sold that the guy running this was kind of an asshole, this cemented it.
Give a dumbass a megaphone and he's still a dumbass.
Yeah, surprise that the guy who, cheats on his wife and turns it into PR and then films in the fucking bathroom maybe is kind of an idiot and shouldn't be listened to by anyone ever.
Yeah, this is really just what the.
Yeah,
I would like to go ahead and note that I have regularly voiced my displeasure for this chud of a man, multiple times, and good to know that he has not changed in any way, shape, or form, and I can continue to call him a fucking chud. The fact that he has, for some reason, decided to promote Elon Musk's bullshit line of thought when it comes to this, alongside advocating for the completely ridiculous conspiracy theory that 5G causes the coronavirus. I do not understand how anyone can take this, not necessarily Dr. Disrespect, but the man behind Dr. Disrespect, seriously anymore. And we touched on this earlier about how Twitch did the right thing when it came to the Valorant farming.
Hmm.
That was a good instance of Twitch doing something. On the other hand, we have Twitch doing absolutely nothing whenever Dr. Disrespect, one of their top streamers, goes out there and starts spreading misinformation about the pandemic and about this bullshit. And yes, I know a lot of the people that were in his chat voiced their displeasure about it. But that does not stop him from continuing to spread that message and have these clips and videos circulate. Because he, whether he likes it or not, or whether he aims to be or not, is influential on many of the people that watch his streams. And if he is going to continue promoting this sort of shit, he should not be out there streaming. He should not be talking about this stuff. Twitch should be doing something to curtail this.
But you see, Brian, you said it in one of your first sentences there. He's one of the top streamers.
Yes.
If he has a standard partnership deal, 50% of everything he makes goes directly to Twitch.
Yeah. Like I said before, this is my final nail in the coffin. I've always tried to give the guy the benefit of the doubt because I could see, oh, he's just trying to do, some slightly edgy humor, but this actually hurts people. I have nothing good to fucking say anymore, so there you go.
There was never anything good to say about him. I'm sorry. He's been doing shit like this for years now and continues to get love and gets shown on major. We're talking about, who was it? There was a studio that was in development talks with him for a show based off of the Dr. Disrespect character.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That shit does not need to happen. Look at what you are empowering. Look at what you are allowing to spread messages to very impressionable communities through this shit.
It's the people that made The Walking Dead, right? Skywatch?
Yeah, it was Skybound. Yeah. Robert Kirkman's company, which, hooray, Robert Kirk. Fucking Jesus. Anyway. No, this is complete and utter bullshit. This Twitch should be putting their foot down on this. Merwin, you make a very good point because Twitch is very, very hesitant to put any kind of clamp on the people that bring in the most money for their platform. And it's really frustrating that that is what determines disciplinary action when it comes to this company. And it will continue to be as long as they keep doing stuff like this. They keep allowing people like this to spread misinformation that can get people legitimately killed on their platform.
Yeah. Yeah, right now is not the time we need to be spreading conspiracy theories, even if you can lean back and go, "Oh, it was a joke." Fuck your jokes. Fuck your jokes in the ass. This is not a jokey joke, ha ha, fun time matter. This is people fucking dying. Eating my entire asshole.
Exactly.
But you know what is good, ha ha, funny, laughing joke time? Mr. Video Games, because we, every week, at the end of our show, drop for you the Mr. Video Game Award. And it is somebody so good, so bad, so stupid that, hey, we couldn't do anything but look at that and go, that is Mr. Video Games. And this week's, I won't even fucking lie, this just gave me a good reason to highlight this group because this has been a long-standing internet joke for a long time. And Kadikarus, one of my favorite YouTubers, decided to do a little video on it after going down a rabbit hole and discovering it himself. The video is on the old show that used to run on cable access that has been uploaded to YouTube and riffed off of time and time again. Navigator. Navigator is so bad. Each one of these videos is labeled as gaming in the Clinton years, and boy, some of his statements are outlandish fucking bullshit. Like stuff like, you know what would be a great thing to do to Tomb Raider's Lara Croft? Give her breast cancer. That's his big idea in his 3.5 minutes that he has as a cable TV guy to put out there. Some of them are just standard ass reviews. The fact that it's called Gaming in the Clinton years, why? It didn't even cover the years of Clinton's term entirely. So what why?
Who the fuck knows? Like, this is one of the most oddball YouTube stories you could think of. Like, for something that started off as a public access show that wasn't even called Gaming in the Clinton years at that point. It was called what? Flights of Fantasy? Is that? I think that's what it was called
It was
originally.
Flights of something. I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, it's like it was Flights of Fantasy, and then for some reason, all of these clips of like video game reviews that are, for the most part, nonsensical, like end up on this other YouTube channel called Navigator, which, if I remember correctly, was what is it? The National something of Video Game Reviewers or something like that. I can't remember what the entire acronym stands for, but National Association of Video Game Reviewers, I want to say.
Yeah.
Which is complete and utter bullshit, by the way. But all of these episodes renamed Gaming in the Clinton years, thrown up there, and they're all completely nonsensical. Like, even the ones that do follow somewhat of a through path, like by the end of it, you're still just bewildered by what conclusions this person comes to. My personal favorite, being, for some reason, like, why did he tried to like rate the what was it, Rugrats search for Reptar or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, what was it like? It was like difficulty E, control E, overall A. What the fuck even is this shit?
That was actually what got Kadikarus to go to this guy in the first place. Was he was looking at one of those out of context things, and it was like Navigator out of context, and that was the one that he found. Was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then started watching it and watched every single Navigator review that exists, and not just that, going all through all 1,300 videos to figure out what this channel is. Spoilers, a lot of it's B-roll, but a whole lot of it is also he re-uploaded the same shit.
Multiple times.
Mm-hmm. My favorite part of the whole thing is after, like, I think Retzer Prey was one of the first people that really found out about this guy, and shortly after that, he feigned his own death, and then later made a video.
Jesus. God. I just remember like most of these reviews being for games that he didn't even finish. And
Mhm.
not to say that you have to finish a game to probably review it, but like the fact that he just admittedly like just runs around like with unabashedly saying that he used cheat codes to get past stuff, like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a standard template for him. If you want to get to the end, use cheat code, blah, 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 and you can breeze through the game. Why are you playing video games if you're just going to go straight to the fucking end of it?
Or comparing the voice samples of Resident Evil to Super Mario 64.
If you
like
don't
that's any
like
kind
Donkey
of
Kong Country, you are stupid.
Guys, this is actually legitimately hurting my head. And sadly, I know that these are all going to end up being watched in this house at some point.
Oh, they're all so good. They're also just watch the one where he's interviewing children about Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, it's so
It's
good.
the most nonsensical bullshit.
Literally all of this is in this video. You don't have to go on and watch his shit. You can watch this. It is a lengthy 40-minute video that Mr. Kadikris has put out, but every minute of this is gold. Watch this. Take your family, bring them all into the room together. Have yourself a chortle.
It's all so bad. It's so bad, but it's so good. Just the logo, gaming in the Clinton years. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
with that like odd Clinton head and then the most boring video from Battletoads scrolling past it.
Yep,
Just oh.
just ridiculous.
Oh,
Oh my god.
that makes me feel better. Ah, brings a warmth to the cockles of my heart.
I know.
Playwatch
I
is
know.
already looking this up.
Of course he is. You're welcome.
You know what? I'm going to drop the fucking link into the chat. Just make this easier on you guys. Go watch this after we're done. You will have a good time. While we're here, it's going to drop a like. There you go. Oh, I'm not signed in. Fuck it. I'll give it a like later. I think I already have given it like 3 likes on my other accounts. Anyway. Enough love for Kadikris. Take a breath, slow down, and that is the end of our show, sadly. For May the 4th be with you, 2020, etc., etc.
Oh, we almost got through the entire show without a Star Wars reference. Damn.
Right.
I had to.
It's all right. It's basically our lesbian kiss at the end of Rise of Skywalker. So we were very much Disney.
Yeah. I say that very much with the tongue firmly planted in the cheekbones. Anyway, Lindsay, do you have any final words this evening?
Wash your damn hands. That was the best New Yorker you're ever gonna get out of me, by the way.
We got to bring Joan back on the show, if just for her
Right.
New York accent.
We've got to find a good ragey show for her.
Mm.
But yeah, like love each other, be cool to each other, listen to the professionals, for the love of God, listen to the professionals. Don't get bought in by all of the conspiracy theories. Please don't. Just do your part. We'll get through this. And thanks you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Also, as a note, oh wonderful slacker kite. Can we please get that intro again as our outro?
That is definitely what I have pulled up and ready to do.
Nice.
Brian, any final words?
Before I get to plugs and everything, I just need to pour one out for EVO 2020, Fortnite World Cup, and Dota 2 International this year. All have been canceled. My esports heart has been broken. I don't know what I'm going to be watching. I say that I think EVO 2020 is still going to be a digital event, but the others I'm not sure about. Either way, it's not going to be the same. It's a bummer. Coronavirus sucks. Fuck Dr. Disrespect. Coronavirus sucks. Suck a dick. Anyway, that's a good way to lead the segue into plugs, right? So you can check out most of my written stuff over at outsports.com. We're doing something fun this week. We've been doing theme weeks since there's really no sports to talk about. So last week we did a Jersey week where we wrote about like our favorite sports jerseys, and I got to write about some really cool queer pride looks in pro wrestling. And this week we're doing a Marvel week. So we over at Outsports we are doing podcasts, kind of comparing athletes in the LGBTQ spectrum to characters within the Marvel universe. And I also have a really fun podcast looking at pro wrestling's relationship with comic book superheroes and Marvel, as well as a very fun discussion with friend of the show, Hollis Adler, talking about the severe lack of queer representation in the MCU. So that's going to be on this week's edition of LGBT in the Ring this Thursday. Download it anywhere you can download podcasts, but specifically Apple, Google, and Spotify. Always fun there. I have some other stuff in the pipeline, but I'm not sure when that's coming out yet. So if you want to know when that stuff is coming out, go over to my Twitter account at WonderboyOTM, and you will get updates on that, as well as any of the random dumb bullshit thoughts that come into my brain and I decide to put up there. It happens from time to time. I'm not the best, but it's up there. And it can get real stupid, as you've heard me on this show. Other than that, I'm just going to keep playing some more Valorant. If anybody wants to do that, we get in the Discord and maybe we can hook up and play some Valorant down the line. And outside of that, wash your hands, like Merowyn said. New York Merowyn said, wash your hands, stay clean, stay healthy. We'll continue to get through this together. And once again, fuck Dr. Disrespect.
All right. This is, of course, your time for a reminder. Links, as always, in the doobly-doos down below for our Twitters. You can follow each of us, see Slacker Kite, Lady Merowyn, Wonderboy OTM. Shit's all down there. Join our Discord if you're not already in our Discord. That link's also down there. And, of course, we're going to leave you with the new song for Mr. Video Games. Have fun, stay classy, be good.
Bye.